just find it first. Just 1 second. Let me just make sure it's all okay, all good. So slideshow. Okay, great. Can everyone see the screen? How could I? So 1 second. Let me just move. Can everyone see the screen right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. And can I'm just trying to think. Maybe I should move. And you can see me as well or not?
We can see you.
Okay, maybe I'll remove that later because it's. Okay, I'll keep the video for now. But to be honest, when I see the video, it's kind of distracting to the slides. So I might just turn it off for the duration of the presentation, and then I'll, when we go through questions. So in terms of content, we're probably gonna go for about 40 minutes, and then feel free to ask any questions in the meantime. And I will then at the end, there will be an opportunity to ask any more specific questions about your situation. So actually, if you don't mind, I will turn the video because I can see all of the videos on the left-hand side and it's, 1 second. Okay.
You can click the minimize button and hide it.
Okay, anyway. So anyway, welcome everyone to How to Optimize Your LinkedIn Profile to Attract Recruiters webinar. LinkedIn, as I'm sure you're aware, is a top social networking website for job seekers and also business owners. LinkedIn right now has, I think, 575 million users, and every 2 seconds, the site adds 2 new members every second. So with so many members, the rate at which your network expands on LinkedIn can be truly amazing. Because 100 strategic contacts could mean access to millions of people in a short amount of time. So we would really need to attend a lot of networking events in person, which right now we're not even allowed to do that, to equal the reach that you can get on LinkedIn. So executives from all top companies are on LinkedIn. Recruiters from all the different sectors are on LinkedIn as well, and millions of companies have profile pages on LinkedIn. So today we're really going to focus on how do you optimize your profile to attract. It's not just about attracting recruiters. If you are a consultant, if you are perhaps a business owner and you're self-employed, that's absolutely going to help you as well. These tips will absolutely work for you as well. So how, 1 second. So for those who don't know me, again, my name is Margaret Buj. I am an interview and career coach with, actually, it's almost 15 years of recruitment experience and almost 14 years of coaching experience. So during this time, I have mostly recruited for global technology and e-commerce companies. However, I have also recruited for startups, mostly in the tech space. So I've recruited, I must have hired over 1,000 people myself. I've interviewed loads of people in many different countries in Europe, and I've done some recruitment in the US as well. I'm also a qualified coach. I've been listed, I was very proud to be listed as one of the top career influencers to follow in 2019, and I've written a Land That Job ebook as well. So if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, feel free to send me a connection request, because that will also expand your reach. So what we're going to focus on today, I'm going to talk about what recruiters are looking for when searching for candidates. I will give you some tips on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile for the best results in your job search. I will give you again some examples on how to create an effective tagline, summary, and headline. Also how to find leads and engage with prospective employers. And also we'll talk a little bit about endorsements and joining groups, and how do you really create connections, and how do you expand your network. So I presume everyone has a basic LinkedIn account, yes? Or is everyone muted? Anyway, I do hope that everyone has a basic account set up. Basic membership on LinkedIn is free. And for most job seekers, the free option is really absolutely fine to effectively network. Personally, I don't think you necessarily need a premium account. I mean, of course, you get, you can get a lot more functions, you can email a lot more people, but for most job seekers, the free version should be absolutely fine. So in terms of LinkedIn optimization, that's really what we're going to cover, you know, the work experience, the connections, the keywords, the summary, the photo. We're going to look at all of that. So firstly, you know, how do you optimize? So firstly, just because your profile says it's complete, it doesn't mean it's optimized. So users with completed profiles are 40 times more likely to receive opportunities. But as I said, it has to be optimized, not just complete. So LinkedIn considers your profile complete if you include your industry and your location. If you are looking for a job in a different location, that's the location that you might want to put on LinkedIn, because otherwise recruiters won't be able to find you. You need information about your current position, including description, because again, a lot of people just have maybe the job title and the dates. At least 2 past positions, your education, at least 3 skills, profile picture, and at least 50 connections. But I mean, ideally, you know, anyone can have a lot more than that. And also the search algorithm seeks and displays results in this order. So if I was to look for someone just like you as a recruiter, because all of the recruiters will be using LinkedIn to identify candidates. So the search algorithms will be displaying results in this order. So first, your profile has to be 100% complete. Then it will display if we have connections in common. I will see you first. And that's why it's so important to keep growing your network. Then connections by degree, so first degree and then, you know, second degree, and then if you have any groups in common. So that's how it will be displayed. That's how LinkedIn algorithm will display your results. And you know, what are we looking for? And again, I will go into that in a more detail, but just in general, you know, when the recruiters are looking for candidates on LinkedIn, firstly, of course, we need to understand that the person has the relevant experience, right? So you need some of the relevant keywords. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but you know, let's say I'm looking for a marketing manager who has experience in search engine optimization. So of course, I'll be looking for SEO or search engine optimization as a keyword. You want to have some numbers and facts and figures. So one of the very common mistakes, not just on LinkedIn, but also on CVs, on resumes, is that candidates and job seekers have, you know, they have like long descriptions of what they've done. So they list their responsibilities, but there isn't enough information about what they've achieved and the impact of the work. So whenever you've done something that saved time or money, or you streamlined the procedure, or you really made a tangible impact on your organization, add that to your CV and add that to your LinkedIn profile. So you want some facts and figures, you want some numbers. You also want to make sure that the work history in your profile and your resume match each other, because on one hand, yes, of course, you should tailor your CV and the resume. It's, you know, it's the same thing. US uses resume, and you know, we use CV. But sometimes I've seen hiring managers looking at candidates' CV and their LinkedIn profile, and actually they don't really match up, you know. So maybe, and then it's a little bit dodgy, you know, like they didn't want to consider the candidates. So you definitely want to have some relevant keywords. We'll talk about that later. When I mentioned the LinkedIn, your previous employers using company's logo. So typically when you update the work experience section of your LinkedIn, if you list your last company, if it's a pretty well-known company, typically a logo will come up. So again, that's something that you can do. And if you can use bullet points, that would be great. So you can't actually do bullet points in LinkedIn, but you can do them in a Word document and then copy and paste. It just might be easier to read than, you know, really long paragraphs. So when you look at your profile, you know, when someone looks at your profile, whether it's a recruiter or potential employer or business partner, what are they seeing? You know, like think about your profile. Is it represented as you want? And does it actually reflect the true value and professional presence of you or of your company? Because that's, you know, that's personal branding. That's like the first thing that someone will see when looking either at your LinkedIn profile or at your resume. So I mean, I'm not saying my profile is by all means perfect, but you know what just the reason I wanted to copy that here, you know, there is a summary section. It's basically 100% complete. I've got, you know, different websites. I've got my contact information. I've got the different things I'm doing in terms of recruitment and coaching and training. And, you know, there's a new section on LinkedIn as well called featured, which you will find it just in your settings when you go to your profile, and you can highlight some of your presentations or articles. So even if someone looks at your profile for the first time, they don't need to hunt for the articles. So, you know, you can see articles, I will show you in a moment, but anyone who comes to my profile, they will see the featured section that you can see just right at the bottom. So I've just highlighted some of the podcasts I've been interviewed for and, recent articles. And as you can see, when you look at my activity, and again, that's again what an employer will see. I have a lot of articles. I think it's 65. But if you have some of them in that featured section, it's very easy, for me to draw attention to these articles. So the main sections to optimize are headline or tagline, summary section, and experience section. And we are going to go through them one by one. So firstly, your headline tagline section. This is a 120 characters headline, and that's really like the most highly search optimized part of your profile. So you want to make it a short phrase that provides a description of what your expertise is. And I will show you some examples in a moment. So you want to think about yourself in branding terms. If you are the brand, your headline is your brand slogan. So you want to use the keywords in your headline. You want to use the keywords and deliverables for which you want to be found out by the hiring managers and recruiters. And what I would recommend is that you don't just use your current job title. So if you're an accountant or marketing manager, that doesn't make you stand out from other candidates. So don't use just your job title. Instead, give a reader a snapshot of who you are and your personality, motivating them to click on your profile to read further. Hiring managers usually use these keywords, and again, I will show some examples to find people just like you. So you can get some kind of guidance on what keywords to use by looking at the job descriptions of the types of roles that interest you. So let me give you some examples here. So as you can see, a couple of examples. I've literally actually just added them yesterday to this presentation. So you look at the first person, she didn't just say marketing director or program manager, because that doesn't differentiate her in any way. So she's used, proven program manager, demand generation experts, driving brand awareness through integrated marketing campaigns. Or the second person, again, she didn't just say she's a content marketing person. You can see exactly what her areas of expertise are, and she obviously does a few different things: so content marketing and strategy, operations, but she's also a podcast host. And some more examples here. So they were kind of more in marketing because I was doing a marketing workshop, but instead of saying a marketing manager or a brand manager, you can see marketer, analytical, passion for tech, I create winning products. It's a mistake there. A winning product and marketing campaigns, or personal branding strategies, providing business leaders with techniques to maximize their brand value for career success. Or the last one, you can see the years of experience, and you can also see their areas of expertise. So when you look at your headline right now, how can you change it? What can you, what you want to be well known? I suppose, what are you well known for right now? Think about, what were you praised for? What did your boss or your clients really like about you? Because, and what are your main areas of expertise in terms of the hard skills that you can mention? So if you have any specific keywords, again, that's something that you can, specific technologies, that's something that you can mention as well. So some more examples that you can see here. So, and that's just one person, right? You can see vice president and chief financial officer, and then their areas of expertise like M&As and outsourcing, restructuring, and also the areas in which he specializes, he or she. Then, another one, anyone could say they're an HR specialist or payroll specialist, but here, what can you tell? You can see that the person has experience in investment banking and retail banking and financial services. It's kind of the same, but yeah. Or CIO, business transformation, SAP. So again, the person doesn't just say they are a CIO, they actually use that headline example to draw people's attention to whatever their main areas of expertise are. Are there any questions on that? If so, raise your hand. Actually, I'm not sure if I would see when you're asking a question, but I'm sure Gail can mention it to me. So here are some more examples. So here are some LinkedIn examples from real job seekers. So have a look at the first one. The person is a senior digital marketing manager, but then she mentions all of these frequently searched hardcore skills, and she has these vertical bars and pipes, which I would actually recommend. So I actually used to recruit for digital marketing positions quite a lot. So as you can see, this is exactly the keywords I would be looking for. If I was, for example, I used to recruit for a SaaS company. So again, I'll be using for words like SaaS, like digital transformation or CRM. Then you have the next person who actually is looking for a job after moving to a new city. So, I wouldn't use your headline, because sometimes people, when they look for work, they put in their headline, looking for a new job opportunity. Again, nothing wrong with that if you have some other keywords as well, but if your whole headline is just looking for a new job opportunity, I mean, no recruiter will be searching for someone who's looking for a new job opportunity. So use that headline to have the relevant keywords. And then if you want to add that, you can mention that you're looking for a new position. So the person here mentions that in her profile summary. So her LinkedIn headline features the specific job title she's targeting, even though she hasn't held that exact job title in the past. So it's more like geared towards the future and specific roles that recruiters are searching for. And here, just a couple more examples. So I mentioned like software developer looking for a new opportunity. So the person mentions he's seeking full-time opportunity. Again, you don't have to do that, but he does mention the hard skills that a technical recruiter might search for. And again, I used to recruit for, actually not for JavaScript, but in general, I used to recruit for front and back end, front end developers primarily. And again, that's what I would be looking for, front end and then some specific technologies. And then we have the next person. So instead of using that default LinkedIn headline, which could be MBA candidate or whatever, you have a lot of relevant industry keywords and search them. So you've got payment technology and fintech and MBA and School of Business and all of the different things that she's doing. So can you just see how much more impressive that headline will be, rather than just someone who says marketing manager or software developer or a coach or a business coach or an accountant or a consultant, right? Like you want to mention some of your areas of expertise. And just not sure anyone is a student here, but if you are a student and you don't have much work experience, of course, it can be a bit difficult to know what to put in your profile. So here are just some good examples here. For example, the first one, we know the person is studying, when he's going to be available, and we know some of these hard skills as well. And then, again, the next person, instead of just saying student, right, or graduate, we already know that he's a digital artist. We know that he's a 3D animator. Same the last person. We know that they're looking for internship, and we know what their technical skills are. So that's just really how you can utilize your LinkedIn headline and how you can optimize it with the right profiles. Now, in terms of your summary section, actually, hold on a second. So yeah, in terms of your summary section, the summary section provides you, it's the 2,000 character space sorry, 1 second, okay. So it's a 2,000 character space really to showcase your achievements and key accomplishments. So ideally it should be filled with some accomplishments of what you've achieved, instead of just telling people, the recap of your experience. And you can also reference other parts of your profile to encourage readers to keep scrolling to the other sections of the profile. So that's really how you can start building your brand. And again, I will show you some examples, but you want to keep your summary section concise and interesting, so just a few paragraphs. You want to have some real life examples. You can actually share some of your presentations or video or audio files. Like let's say you spoke at an event for 1,000 people, you can actually share, you can add a video of your presentations at that event. It is just quite impressive. So you want to have a few short paragraphs. You want to articulate your credibility, and you might want to describe some passion and excitement that drives you in your professional life to make it a little bit more interesting and exciting. So what I would recommend is that you remove all of the cliche and like really fluffy words like, I'm an enthusiastic self-starter and stuff. Just don't do that. These are like the most overused words on LinkedIn. Instead, you want to have it packed with action-driven information and language, and don't just tell someone that you are results-driven. You need to demonstrate it by actually including some results in your profile. So basically, demonstrate the trait. Don't just say that you have a trait. Anyone can say they're really well organized, they're really enthusiastic or passionate. No, you need to demonstrate that. So how do you actually develop these achievement-driven statements for your summary? So for each task or claim that you are making, ask yourself, like, how did they make money or save money or streamline the process or improve an outcome, or how did they contribute to culture? Another way to ask yourself this question is, how do I know I did a good job? And then describe what good job looked like. So always ask yourself, like, what was I hired to do? What did I do? And what was the result? Because when you ask yourself these questions, it will help you stay away from just having responsibilities in your profile and put you on the road to developing accomplishment-driven language in your profile. So definitely could include some achievements. So here is just, I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it's just one example that's actually from a recruiter. Again, you don't need to read that, but I quite like the fact that they mentioned their motivation. So, they mentioned they spent a few years in banking, they are now in technical recruiting, they mention what they like about it. I think it's fine to mention something personal if you want to. And, if I was looking for a tech recruiter, this is great because they mentioned all of their recruiting specialties, and a lot of recruiters don't. So again, what would be the specific keywords in your area of expertise that you could mention in your summary, in your skills profile? Here is another example of creative director from an agency, media agency. So again, this is not the full profile, but I like this profile because it's kind of interesting. She mentions what kind of iconic brands she created campaigns for. She mentions some of the achievements, how she got the job. So again, feel free to review that profile later, and you don't have to do it in the same way, but it's just more interesting than saying, creative director with 5 years of experience. So like this is just some example of what you can use. So yeah, as I mentioned, you want to have 2,000 characters. You want to mention some achievements. If you are looking for work, it depends, because you might want to make it clear what you're looking for. If you're looking for work, but obviously if you're currently working, then maybe that's not the best way. But if you are currently working, and if you would like to let recruiters know that you are interested in other opportunities, there is a function that you might be aware of called show that you are open to recruiters. I don't actually have it on this presentation, but just literally Google how to show that you're open to recruiters in LinkedIn. It's somewhere in settings. It's super easy to set up. It literally takes a minute. And basically you can show to all of the different recruiters, and only recruiters from outside of your organization will see that, what kind of opportunities you are interested in. So that's just a really useful way to show that you're open to recruiters. But definitely make it clear what you do. Include a way to contact you if you want to be contacted. Because often, unless you are connected, I will not be able to see your contact details. And I would definitely recommend that you include links to your projects where possible. So in my summary section, I have some links I actually have a link from a conference I think I spoke to, or some LinkedIn award, and some articles and some videos. So again, whoever looks at my profile, they're welcome to look at it, and at least they can kind of know what I'm about and what my areas of expertise are. Now, your experience section. I won't show you examples, but I just wanted to give you some tips here. So first, you want to link your job to your company. So I've already mentioned that when you add a job on LinkedIn, you are asked for the name of the company that you worked for, and if that company has a profile on LinkedIn, it will automatically link it to the logo of that company, and you will show up as an employee who worked for that specific company. Also start with some kind of overview. So use a few sentences, maybe 2 or 3 sentences, to give a reader an overview of what your job entails, including some facts and figures. So for example, if you're a manager, what do you manage? Who do you manage? What do you manage? Budget, just give some kind of detail. Definitely use action words, and that's advice for both your CV and your resume and your LinkedIn profile. So nowhere in your CV or LinkedIn profile it should say responsible for or duties included. Say what is it that you do, and using action words such as managed or led or grew or reduced or saved. I would really avoid saying responsible for. It's fine if you do it once or twice, but a lot of people, the whole CV or the LinkedIn profile is littered with these words. You definitely want to use keywords. So research the keywords that you should include for each job. And if you are not sure what these keywords are, take a look at your actual job description and see what the essential and desirable skills are for the job that you are interested in, and also look at the jobs that you are actually interested in, personally. And you might also want to review profiles of your colleagues and peers, just for inspiration. You obviously don't want to copy anything. Keep it clear and concise, so don't use 4 words when one will do. I sometimes see that mistake with CVs as well. Like, really it shouldn't be more than 2, maybe maximum 3 pages, and I've seen CVs that have like 7, 8 pages. No, you definitely can get to the point. Use the correct tenses. So what I mean is, if you are talking about the past positions, you would use the past tense, so led and managed. If you are in a current position, you just use correct sense. I mean, it might seem like common sense, but it just doesn't always happen. So you also want to include achievements. So, for example, instead of saying, first you don't want to just say something like work in sales or increase sales, because that's not specific. So, but also at the same time, you want to have it concise. So, for example, instead of saying promoted to my current position where I excelled in sales, increasing them by 12% in the first year, you might just want to say increased sales by 12% in the first year following my promotion. So the first thing that the person reads is an achievement, right? So you can also see it's much more concise. So you can just mention increased sales by 12% in the first year following my promotion. So the more achievements you can include, the better. And yeah, definitely check for spelling and grammar. Again, I will show you some examples later, but one thing that always lets people down is poor spelling. And actually, funnily enough, sometimes people who they put on their CV or the LinkedIn that they have great attention to detail, they often have quite a lot of spelling mistakes, which is interesting. So keywords. Keywords are very important throughout your profile, not just in your tagline. So in your summary and experience section, you will want to use words that will enable the hiring managers or the recruiters to find you for in that keyword search. So really the summary section, the experience section, and the headline section are the places that you should be using keywords. So use words that share your abilities and subject matter expertise and skill sets. So I mentioned some of the hard skills, especially in your summary and experience section. So, like, what are the typical skill sets that recruiters are looking for when they are looking for someone with your experience? And what skills are in demand and offer the best value, and put yourself in the shoes of recruiter as well. And you also might want to look at job descriptions of the positions you've been applying for online to find the keywords that are being used. And I'm not talking about words like you need to have good communication skill, because that's obvious, like you need it for every job. But what are maybe some of the hard skills? What are some of the more specific keywords that pop up? And also, what are the titles that you are seeing for your dream job? So actually with titles, you also need to be careful, because you need to be using a title that's kind of recognizable by most people. So let me give you some example. When I was working for Expedia a few years ago, there used to be a position called transport analyst. Now, no other company called these people transport analysts. It was actually a very technical role that they needed to understand some of the just some of the specific travel systems. So again, if I was looking for a transport analyst, that I clearly wouldn't be able to find anyone. So that's why it's so important that the person, which will typically have an analyst title, but it's important that they have the skills that will enable me to find them as a recruiter. So how would the recruiter search for someone like you, and just think of the recruiter to get the right keywords. Like, imagine you are looking for your replacement, right? Like, what kind of keywords would you be looking? So you might want to try this exercise later. Search LinkedIn with the titles you have on your profile and keywords you've mentioned in your profile area of location, and you show up in the first 10, 20 results. If not, you might want to you might have some more work to do in terms of adding the relevant keywords. So here are some of the buzzwords I would avoid, and actually, to be honest, there are loads of them. What I would recommend is that you Google an article. I think LinkedIn does it every year. So they have an article with something like the most overused phrases on LinkedIn. Can't remember exactly what the title is, but something about the most overused phrases on LinkedIn. And these are the phrases here, motivated and expert and focused and experienced and skilled. Now, there isn't necessarily nothing wrong if you just use this keyword once or twice somewhere on your profile. But if that's all you have, without having any kind of substance, without having any kind of evidence that you have these skills, that's definitely not going to be enough. So that's something that I would recommend that you avoid the buzzwords and give them some concrete examples. Now, spelling. So spelling, obviously very important. That's like the first impression. And whether it's your LinkedIn or a LinkedIn profile on your resume. I mean, just look at this example here. Right, you wouldn't want to hire someone in charge of pubic relations, right? So these are just live examples from misspelled job titles on LinkedIn. Or example here, communications. I mean, communications obviously should be double M, but again, it's just an impression, first impression that you make. So how to ensure perfect spelling? Of course, you can use just the word spelling and grammar tool, but if that's something that you struggle with, I would definitely recommend Grammarly. I think it's it's a free Chrome extension that checks your spelling and grammar as you're writing. And with documents such as your CV or LinkedIn, you definitely want to ensure that you don't have any kind of mistakes. Okay. Photo picture. So here are some of the good examples. These people look professional and friendly. Ideally you want a headshot. And again, I don't think you need to wear a suit or anything. You don't need to look, but you just want to look friendly. You want to look at the camera. You want to look professional. What you don't want to do, you want to have a photo that's showing you in a professional setting, professional pose and smiling. But you kind of want to play it safe as well. So you want to look sensible and you want to be smiling. But at the same time, you don't need a professional photo shoot. Like, you can easily do it yourself. You can ask your friend to take a picture. So what I would recommend is that you have neutral background, good lighting. You want to look approachable and you kind of want to look positive and open. What you don't want to do, let me show you that. I mean, that's what you don't want to be doing. That's actually a real life example from LinkedIn. I mean, I just have no clue, why and what kind of job the person is looking for. But and it's funny enough, you do see as a recruiter when you look at LinkedIn profiles. I mean, you might be thinking, well, only a complete idiot would have that picture on LinkedIn. Well, yeah, but I've seen quite a lot of pictures that were completely unprofessional. I mean, that's one example. I've seen a picture of a guy working in insurance who was actually dressed as a Batman. I've seen a picture of a marketing manager from a well-known company who actually had fantastic experience, and she just had like a very low cleavage. It was just so unprofessional. It's just like, why would you want to have it on LinkedIn? I mean, looking sexy, great, but it just wasn't very professional. So yes, you definitely want to have something that's quite approachable. None of the party pictures. And actually, funny enough, I don't know why, but some people do have like pictures on the party. You can see that maybe their friend has been cut off and it's just a picture clearly from the party or from the beach party. It's just weird, like that's not the place to be doing that on LinkedIn. So as a summary, well, we haven't finished yet. As a summary of this section, you want to complete your profile 100%. You want to use your headline to highlight your value proposition and really capture the attention of whoever is reading your profile and make them want to learn more about you. You want to include some quantifiable achievements in your summary. That's very important. You want to include awards or special projects or languages. And again, if you speak any languages, that's another one. Definitely mention that, because if I am looking for a German speaker, unless you mention that you speak German on your profile, I will not be able to find you. So that's really an opportunity to set yourself apart from the competition. And don't forget to upload any kind of presentations or reference, web address, like if you've written blog posts or interviews. Yeah?
You okay? Yeah.
Any questions? No? Okay, so now just let's look at joining groups, expanding your network, and endorsements. I mean, actually, firstly, maybe how do you find, and I will give you some more specific examples. Once you build your profile, like once you have a LinkedIn profile, you might be just wondering, like, now what? So let's start with finding potential leads who can help you in your job search. And if you are self-employed, you are looking for potential clients, that's exactly what you're going to do as well. So to the right or to the left? sorry, it's actually the left of the navigation toolbar is a search box. So you can see the search box just on the left, and you can search for people, you can search for jobs, you can search for content, and you can search for companies. So on the next few slides, I will actually show you some specific examples, but basically you can use that advanced people search function. You can see people just at the bottom to identify contacts, and you can use keywords to search by specific job titles. You can use by specific locations, by specific companies, and then you can also save these results if you want to rerun that search. So you can expect to search people by location, so industry types and job titles and industry, employer company names, and language, skills, and special interest groups. So that's why it's important you have the keywords. And you can also, like I mentioned, you can specifically target the type of person who would make an ideal client or a networking connection. And the more specific you can get, the better your search results would be. So, okay, let me give you an example. Let's say you are a marketing manager, you are looking for work right now. So who would you normally be reporting to, right? It's probably gonna be a senior marketing manager or marketing director or CMO, chief marketing officer. So you can in your search function, which I will share in a moment, you can basically search for, in inverted commas, marketing manager and marketing director and CMO, let's say, in specific companies, because these are the people you can then connect with. So you want to develop that target set list of contacts if you're looking for work, sorted by title and geography and industry, and save that search. And if you are, as I said, finding leads, so that those could be leads for your job search, those could be leads for your business. If you are maybe a business coach, maybe you want to connect with, I don't know, HR directors in specific companies. So again, you might just want to develop that list of contacts. And that's basically how you want to identify titles of prospective managers or decision makers. So, I mean, as an example here, you can search, you can see that search function people. I was looking at Google. So again, you can see, so let's say I'm interested in working for Google. So you can see almost 3,000 results in your on LinkedIn, but obviously you can then, as you can see, there's an all filters filter just on the right-hand side. So next to connections, you can see all filters. So if you want to look for specific job titles, you click on all filters. So this is basically what an all filters page looks like. You can search by a company, you can search by a past company, you can search by location, you can search by industry. So these are really the different functions that allow you to find a person that you're looking for. So that's another example. If you can search by university that this person went to. You can search by school, by job title. So, I mean, as a recruiter, this is obviously very useful. I mean, we recruiters have a LinkedIn recruiter, which allows you to email a lot of people in one go. But even with that free account, as you can see, there's quite a lot of searching that you can do in terms of identifying leads with a basic accounts. LinkedIn is also fantastic for jobs. So I'm sure you're all aware of these functions. I'm not going to talk about it in too much detail, but you can look at jobs at specific, company. At the experience level, personally, I wouldn't look at that one, because a lot of the time when the jobs is posted via an applicant tracking system, it will not automatically update the experience level to the right level. So it might be that you're applying for, a director level role, and it will tell you it's an associate level. That section I just noticed, it's a little bit tricky. It's not always accurate. So I would just look at jobs maybe posted in the last 24 hours or the last 3 days, and maybe specific companies or just specific locations. And also companies tabs, it's again very important, because you can search for companies directly by name, keyword, or industry. And you can also use the search companies tab for more advanced search options. So you can refine your search by location, the company size, even number of followers. You want to also find companies to follow, and so that you stay up to date on conversations and business development related to the company itself. So if there are any specific companies, follow them. Might just want to engage with some of the content or share some of the content, because that will help you increase visibility as well. Plus, it's a great way to learn about the company when you actually before an interview. So that's the companies tab. Just quickly about endorsements, why I do think it's useful to have, you've got that skills and expertise section and you've got endorsements. So you can add about 50 skills, and I would definitely recommend that you use that. But the endorsement section, on one hand, I think it's good because as you can see, you can see what the person has an expertise in, but maybe because I've been working as a recruiter, I actually turned off that function because I was getting, and that's actually an example of what not to do. I was getting loads of people who I have never worked with before. I haven't actually met them. And they're like, oh, I've endorsed you for XYZ. Can you endorse me for? I'm like, no, of course I can't. I haven't met you. I would never endorse anyone I haven't actually personally worked with. So yeah, the endorsements, in fact, I think I need to, yeah, so just, but if you do want to use endorsements, with your colleagues, you can just ask like what skills you want to be endorsed for, and you can then ask them to endorse them, but only do it with people who you actually have worked with. Otherwise it just doesn't make any sense and has no credibility. Very briefly about joining groups. You can join about, I think 100 groups right now. Is it 50? No, I actually think it's 100. Mind you, I wouldn't join 100. It's too much work. But according to LinkedIn, your profile is 5 times more likely to be viewed if you join and are active in groups. So groups really give you access to more people, more information about companies and job opportunities and exposure. So it definitely increases your visibility and messaging options, because you can message anyone who's in the same group. So you can just exchange emails with your connections. So yeah, how joining groups can help you. I would definitely recommend that you pick some groups in your area of expertise, because you can post questions or add comments to questions other people post. Sometimes there are jobs posted in groups that might not be visible anywhere else. So that's also good. It increases your visibility, so more people know that you are looking, especially maybe if your profile says that you're looking and you leave some thoughtful comments under specific posts. Yeah, it's just more ways to search for people and companies and jobs. So you can discover relevant groups by using industry-specific keywords or via group memberships your connections have, and then make sure that you join them. And then if you're a member of the same group, you can message them without the need of being the first-degree connection. So that could be very useful if you are not connected to them. And how do you actually add, I actually have a video on YouTube about how to increase your number of connections. Well, the video is something about how to increase number of connections to 500, but really it's, I have 24,000 connections right now, actually almost 25,000. So these tips will definitely work. So you always want to be adding people to your network. So you can definitely import contacts from your email accounts. I would definitely look up all the contacts from seminars or conferences that you went to, and mind you should really do it straight after the seminar, not 5 years later, but you can still connect. And definitely use LinkedIn to find people who work at companies. That sounds interesting. And definitely personalize any of the connection requests. You might want to explain how and where you've met or what connections you have in common. So this is like a standard default message. So of course, you can sometimes send it. And if you do it from your mobile, unfortunately, that's all it will do. It will just send like a standard message, which not everyone will accept. So I would definitely recommend that you personalize your connection request. As you can see here, how do you know Jennifer? So maybe you're in the same group, maybe you've done business together. And you just explain why you would like to connect. It doesn't, it should only be a short message, but you should always personalize a connection request. Or like here, maybe you're in the same group, so then you mention we're in the same group and I would love to connect with you. So, networking, just remember, it's about connecting people you don't know yet. So reach out and connect with someone. Also, what helps in expanding your network is when you keep on sharing content. So I publish a lot of my own content, but I also share a lot of great content that I think is useful to others. So keep on sharing, make sure that you keep your profile active. And again, I will talk about that in a moment. I have a few more slides. You might want to add articles that might be of interest to your connections, whether these are your own articles or whether it's actually something that you just share, and participating in group discussions. All of that definitely helps you improve, expand your network. So yeah, and obviously reach out to new connections and invite them to join your network and making sure it's personalized. yeah, share if you find something interesting as well. So how can you, so these are just like 3 activities to increase your LinkedIn visibility. So I'm gonna go through them one by one. So first one is the status updates, and I think, how much time have we got? Okay, 10 minutes, I will wrap up in a few minutes. So status updates. So firstly, update your status honestly at least once a week if you are quite active on LinkedIn. I actually do it most days, not every single day, but I will post an article or reshare something once a day. You don't have to do it once a day, but you know, once or twice a week at the very minimum. So status updates from your personal network are posted to your homepage. So at a glance, the update sections will keep you on top of what's going on with your connections. And to make the most of your interactions on LinkedIn, this is really the section to keep checking, you know, because that's where you can comment on people's posts or updates. So LinkedIn will also draw in information that they think that you could be interested in. That can include news and job postings. And to broadcast your own updates, you basically just write in a message in the status box and click share. And there's also like a drop down there that you can share it with just your connections, but you can also share it on LinkedIn and Twitter or LinkedIn only. You can share it with everyone, or you can share your updates with just your connections. So a little strategic tip here, that LinkedIn and liking and commenting on status updates could be a discreet way of getting attention, of gaining attention of people in your network who might be hard to connect with otherwise. So what kind of, you might be wondering, what do I actually share? You know, what kind of things can I share? So you can share current and upcoming trends in your industry. You can share insights from projects that you are working on. You can mention some events or seminars that you just attended, or training courses you're taking, or linking to articles or blogs within your industry. And as I mentioned, the fact that you share, it doesn't have to be 100% of the time your own content. I mean, obviously never steal anyone's content, but you can just share what someone else is sharing, maybe along with your thoughts of how it will affect the industry. So yeah, I would recommend at least a few updates per week, at least a couple of updates. Group participation, so the interaction. So you want to actively participate in some of the group discussions. You can join up to 100 groups to expand your search, and you can join these groups by title, location, or industry, or discipline. And you can offer advice or help on comment on articles posted within the groups, because that will help you increase your connections as well. And then, you know, the advanced search use, which is what I have covered earlier. So you want to use it to find leads and make connections. And the more people are connected to you, the greater number of people, you know, whose related keyword search result will show you at the top of the list. So one kind of almost final thing I would say is that you want to be active and responsive. So keep an eye on your LinkedIn email for any messages, you know, responding to any messages, whether it's from recruiters or potential partners promptly. Is important for managing the first impressions. If a recruiter contacts you, you're not interested, that's fine. Let them know you're not interested, but don't just like not respond, you know, because there might be a time that you're gonna need them. So be as active on LinkedIn as your time allows you to be, whether it's, you know, hourly or daily, but don't sacrifice quality for quantity. Active members of the LinkedIn community sharing relevant updates and insights are more likely to get noticed by recruiters and other professionals using to expand your network. So share articles, engage in discussions. You can publish posts as well, publish articles, which is something that I do quite a lot, but you just want to make sure that the content is relevant to your area of expertise. It just, you know, not just bland posts are probably worse than not posting anything at all. And also you might want to reach out to people in your network who have similar jobs and, you know, roles that maybe you are looking to progress into. Give them a reason to connect. And again, the key is relevancy, because getting too many declined connection requests means that your profile actually can get restricted. So, you know, the more you are active on LinkedIn, the more likely you are likely to benefit from it. So build a strong personal brand and then make sure that you are sharing relevant content, continuing to build out your network, and actively engaging in relevant LinkedIn groups. So here, just, you know, just some final tips as we discussed. You want to have a completed profile, professional picture. You don't want to waste space on overused phrases. You want to have your unique selling point. We actually haven't covered the URL. You want to have a really great summary. You want to use keywords to optimize your tagline, but also you want to optimize your experience section and summary section, status updates and locations, and you want to learn how to search using advanced search to create a target company list. If you want to connect with me, here are my, honestly, you don't even need to take a screenshot of that. You can just literally find me, there's just one Margaret Buj on LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or on my YouTube. Again, type in Margaret Buj, you will find me. I share a lot of videos on similar topics, and also LinkedIn. And actually just one kind of quick thing for anyone. I know we've covered a lot here, and it wasn't really a workshop as such because we have quite a limited time, but I just have a really great offer for anyone who would like to find out more. So I have this online course called How to Get the Job You Want, and it's really about how to get more interviews and offers even in a competitive job market. And what the online course includes is a few different modules with videos. I mean, I'm not going to go into the full amount of detail because you can search on the page. I will give you the link, but I have a lot of videos on LinkedIn and how to get more interviews in a competitive job market, about interviewing, about salary negotiation. And normally that course costs £97. Right now, if you click on that link, it's just £39. And actually if you were to book in the next couple of days, by 23rd of May, you will also get a completely free 30-minute coaching session. So if you need any help with your CV, with your job search strategy, or with your LinkedIn, you get the course, you get all of these handouts as well, as you can see before. So apart from the videos and the slides and the transcripts of all of the sessions, you will also get all of these headlines. You get an ATS optimized CV templates, and you get CV and resume checklist and LinkedIn profile checklist and sample career networking scripts. You get examples of competency-based questions and answers, and you also get salary negotiation scripts. So I've never offered it at this price, but it is the whole coronavirus right now. So right now that link is just £39. And if you want that free 30-minute session, that's for people who book in the next couple of days. So yes, that's all for today. And thank you so much for your time. I think I will just maybe stop sharing right now. And are there any questions? Stop share. I think everyone is muted. Right. So are there any questions? Do you want to open up the?
I can ask one question, if I may.
Sure.
This is Paresh. Hi.
Yeah,
so can you give some tips on how to go about looking for unadvertised or hidden jobs? And would LinkedIn be appropriate to reach out to either your contacts or strangers?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you wouldn't just reach out to complete strangers asking them, do you have a job? That's actually what you should never be doing. And I have an article on LinkedIn called How Not to Network with Recruiters, because what a lot of people do, they don't build any relationships and then just like, hi, can you check my profile and let me know if you have any jobs? I mean, honestly, I get like 200, I mean, not right now maybe, but sometimes I used to get so many of these, like people who haven't even bothered looking at my profile, and they would contact me about, they didn't even have any of the kind of industry experience that I was looking for. So how do you find unadvertised jobs? I mean, firstly, a lot of the jobs will be advertised somewhere, but of course, a lot of these jobs happen through networking, right? I had quite a lot of few jobs in my career where people contacted me. I mean, that's why you build your network. That's why all of these tips I shared about how to build your network and how you add value, that will help you find out about unadvertised jobs. Because if someone knows that you're really strong at XYZ and you've built a relationship with someone, they are much more likely to contact you if they have a relevant opportunity within a company. If a company can find someone through referrals, of course it's easier for them rather than advertising and having to go through 250 applications. So that's why it's so important to build your network first, add value. Don't just contact people. And if you want to contact someone, I would maybe ask for information, but don't just contact strangers saying, how do you have any jobs available, unless they're a recruiter. But even then I would make sure that I've researched the company website first, and you just like basically don't make them do the job for you. Like that's what.
So sorry, just a follow-up. So yeah, I get that the stranger bit. I mean, I get annoyed by when the recruiters contact me, directly. So I get that, but I think what I was more referring to is with your connections that you built, say, over 20 years, then Is there an etiquette on LinkedIn? I mean, in the real world, you would probably meet the person, have a conversation, and then it leads to something. Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course, it's an etiquette on LinkedIn. Like, you wouldn't just contact a stranger and say, "Hi, look at my profile and let
No,
me know."
sorry, I meant not the
So,
stranger, but your own connections.
yeah, I mean, so sorry, I'm not sure if I understand. Are you talking about asking specific? It's a big question, etiquette. So, what do you want to ask your connection? Give me a specific example.
So, in terms of the connections you build, say over a number of years, over a couple of decades, is it is it okay to reach out to people you haven't been actively conversing for past 10 years or something, and
Why not?
saying a hi or whatever?
I have almost 25,000 connections right now. Of course, I'm not in contact with most of these people. Like, it's very clear. So of course you can. I mean, that's why you do that, right? So you can always message someone and say, "Hi XYZ, we probably don't, we connected X amount of years ago at this specific event, or we connected, we haven't spoken for a long time, but I'm currently, you can actually mention even I'm currently looking for, opportunities in this and that area, and maybe just ask them a specific question. I wouldn't ask them about the job, but you might just want to ask for, just some kind of information that can help you, or who you might want to speak to. So it just depends on, there are a lot of nuances, right? Because you actually have never spoken to them. You need to send a slightly different message, rather than, if you actually, you gotta send a different message to someone you've actually spoken to, you just haven't spoken to them for a while, or someone that you've never spoken to, you just connected with. So I would always make it personal. That's why it's so important. Like, refer to something on the profile. Like, you don't want to seem like you're just sending, Bruno, I will answer your question in a moment. So you don't want to just like spam people with the same message. You want to find something personal on the profile and just mention, like, let's say you are looking for a job in a slightly different industry, right? Or maybe you're looking to move from one industry to another, maybe have a kind of a non-traditional background. So let's say you found someone on LinkedIn who has made a similar switch. You wouldn't just say to them, "Oh, hi, can we speak for 10 minutes? Like, give me your time," if you're a complete stranger. No, you would send them a message and maybe just say something like complimentary about the profile. You can see, hope you don't mind me reaching out to you directly. I've seen that you've made this switch from X to Z. I guess it was interesting or tough or whatever. I'm currently looking to do something similar, and I really admire how you've done blah blah blah. Would you be open to a 10-minute conversation? If yes, great. If not, not to worry. So of course not everyone will respond, but you want to personalize all your requests. Okay, so Bruno is asking, is there any way to know if an advertisement is real? Are you talking about jobs, Bruno, or are you talking about jobs? I'm not sure what advertisements you're talking about on LinkedIn. So anyway, the question was like, how can we know the advertisement is actually real? Because you can see a lot of promoted ads. I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, if it's a product section, I mean, how would I know? I guess you can, I don't know, just message them. But in terms of jobs, it's a bit of a tricky one, because LinkedIn actually is quite expensive to post on LinkedIn. So typically companies do have a job open when they are posting. But what LinkedIn also does, it does repost automatically at some stage. So I've seen so many situations when I was working in recruitment, and also, when I'm actually looking for a new recruitment contract now as well. So I can sometimes see that thing, LinkedIn just keeps reposting the same job, but it's actually not a new job. It's already been open for a few weeks. So, but I'm not sure about the promoted ads. I'm not sure what the ads is. How can you check it? Yeah. Feel free to message me later, because I'm not sure what you mean. Any other questions?
As a follow-up on that, I mean, the other way to ask is maybe, is there a vetting process that LinkedIn does for recruiters?
What kind of vetting process? No, anyone can join LinkedIn.
Okay, so
anyone
you don't have to be okay.
No, I mean, you can put whatever you want on your LinkedIn profile. I mean, I guess, I think
what I mean is from the recruiter's point of view. So if I was not a business, I was about to start a business, and I put some advertisement, I think maybe that's what the
about your company. I actually don't know what the process for vetting companies is. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, because I haven't created a company page before. But to be honest, I'm not sure there will be a vetting process. I think it's, like, if you have different information on LinkedIn to what you have anywhere else online, most job seekers would look not just on LinkedIn, they would look at other sources online. So I don't think why anyone would want to put fake information on their profile, because that could be easily checked elsewhere. But I'm not entirely sure whether there is a vetting process for companies. Anything else? Great. So if there are no more questions, thank you so much for your time, and thank you, Gael, for inviting me. I believe Gael will send the recording of the presentation at a later stage. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on LinkedIn, or my email is margaret@interview-coach.co.uk, or you can just find me on LinkedIn and message me on LinkedIn. So yes, thank you so much for attending, and hope everyone enjoys the sunshine. It's going to be really hot today. And yeah,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye bye.